Hello, welcome back to my channel. So a year ago, I made a promise to myself that I was going to try and start a YouTube channel and post videos consistently for a year and see what happens. And now that the year is up, I thought I'd share with you all what the journey has been like. So if any of you out there have been tossing around the idea of starting a YouTube channel, hopefully this can give you a little bit of encouragement. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 1, my fears about starting, 2, why I ultimately decided to go for it, 3, what my expectations for the first year of my channel were versus what the reality actually is, 4, my goals moving forward, and 5, advice for anyone who is thinking about starting a channel of their own. So first, my fears. Some of the main things holding me back were 1, I felt like I was too old, 2, I felt like I wasn't pretty enough, 3, I was afraid I would embarrass myself, 4, I was afraid no one would actually watch my videos, 5, I was afraid I would run out of ideas, and 6, I had no idea what I was doing and I was afraid it would just be awful and what would be the point. So all these fears kept coming up and holding me back, and every time I thought about starting a channel, these fears would pop up and I wouldn't do it, and eventually I was like, okay, let's just break these fears down and see how legitimate they are. 1, I was too old. Well, I'm not getting any younger, and there are YouTubers who are older than me who are successful, so that's not really a valid reason not to go for it. Plus, if anything, it's more encouragement to start now because this is the youngest I'm ever going to be, so might as well start and try. So my second fear of not being pretty enough I felt was pretty valid because I've been made fun of on other social medias just from photos, and I figured if I was posting video of myself, I'd be showing every unflattering angle, so that really scared me. But I figured I've posted pictures on Facebook and gotten harassed and made fun of for the way I look, and it never stopped me from using Facebook. So if I'm already getting made fun of on the internet for the way I look, why not post YouTube videos? Because even if I get made fun of on here, there's a chance I can make money off of these videos. So if it's already happening, whatever, why not on another platform? Especially if I could potentially turn my hobby into a career. Like, being afraid of that is not worth giving up that opportunity. Plus, the channel isn't really about me. It's about making things and me just trying things that I've never tried, documenting that process with all the wins and fails, and hopefully encouraging others who maybe want to try something and don't know if they can to just go for it and see what happens, because the worst that's going to happen is it's not going to work out, and the best that's going to happen is you get something cool out of it. So since that's the main purpose of my channel and the main thing I want to put forth, I feel like my looks really aren't important, and if I'm going to get made fun of, whatever, I think it's worth the risk. So another one of my biggest fears is that no one would watch, and this isn't a valid reason at all not to post videos, because if I don't post anything, then I guarantee 100% no one is going to watch. So the only way I would ever know if people actually wanted to watch my videos would be to actually make videos and post them and see if anybody took the time to watch them. So that shouldn't have been something that I should let stop me. Seems pretty self-explanatory, but I needed to work that one out for myself. So why I ultimately decided to go for it and start my channel is I was watching YouTubers who were doing things very similar to the things I normally do for fun in my free time. So people like Rachel Maxey and Makara Tours and Evan and Caitlin, they're all makers and they all make projects that are similar to things I would make. And so seeing that all these people had turned their hobbies into a career, I was like, okay, why not me? There's a very big chance it'll never happen. That's life, that's reality. But there's a small chance that it could happen. So wouldn't it be very stupid to never put myself out there and never try and always wondered if it could have happened? So Evan and Caitlin, one of the YouTube channels I watch, which ultimately made me decide to try to go for my channel, they have a podcast about their YouTube channel, about how they started and how they've grown. So one of the things they talked about is that they reached a point where the fear of not starting their channel outweighed the fear of starting it. And I heard that and I was still fighting all these fears, but I was like, ultimately they're right. If I don't do this, I will always wonder. And back in 2009, I had actually started posting face paint and makeup tutorial videos. I only made a few videos because I got weird because I was young and I didn't feel comfortable putting myself online, and so I stopped. But seeing how other face paint / makeup channels have grown, I really wonder what could have happened had I stuck with it and not let fear get the best of me. I will never know what that could have been, but the only way I'm gonna know if I can make YouTube into a career is to try. So here we are. This brings us to my expectations for the channel. So my expectations starting out were low. The reason I started this channel is just to post my animations from back in the day, and so that's what the channel was for a good 7 years. I just posted those animations, and that was all that was on the channel. And here are my analytics for the past 7 years. As you can tell, they're pretty abysmal. Given that that was what I had to go off of, I really didn't think moving forward making videos that the next year would look all that different or better than what I had gotten over the last 7 years. I figured it would be pretty consistent to a year prior. Another reason my expectations were low was because I don't know anything about video or lighting or audio. The only thing I have experience with is video editing. So I figured people who have been posting videos for years, who have a legitimate setup, who know what they're doing, who can talk to a camera, there was no way me starting out was going to be able to compete with them. And I really figured the first year would just completely be me learning and posting very poor quality videos and hopefully learning from that. But I didn't really think in the first year I would see much growth, if any. And the last reason my expectations were so low is that most YouTubers post a video a week, if not more, or a video every other week. And I knew I would not be able to keep up with that. I work full time, and some of my projects are more in depth. Plus, when I started the channel, I lived with a roommate, so I not only had to work around my schedule, I had to try to work around their schedule too. So I could only see myself realistically committing to one video a month. And if you're on Instagram or TikTok and you're posting one thing a month, there is no way you're gaining any kind of traction or following. It's just not possible. So to think that posting one video a month on YouTube would give me any kind of growth, I thought was really unrealistic. I just thought this could be like a good trial run to see if I enjoyed the process, if it was at all realistic to potentially do more videos more consistently in the future, and if it was something that I wanted to continue with and would continue with. So all in all, expectations super low starting out. Which is probably a good way to start because, in theory, you can only be surprised, happily surprised by anything that's better than what you were expecting, if that makes sense. So those are my expectations for what a year on YouTube might look like, which brings us to the reality. So first, let's go over those fears again. One, that I was too old. People are watching, so I guess I'm not too old, and I'm able to kind of make it work around my full-time schedule, so cool. 2, I'm not pretty enough. No one in this year has said anything negative about my looks, which can't be said for other social media, so thank you, YouTube. 3, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but it was one of my fears, is that I would get on a roll and I would start with these projects, and then I'd get to a point where I'm like, I don't know what to make a video about, I don't have a project in mind, and this could not be further from the truth. With every project I've done, I have a spin-off of 6 more projects. So at the rate I'm going at, I have enough projects in mind for the next 5 years or so. So running out of ideas has not been an issue. So to anyone else out there who is nervous about starting because they're afraid they won't be able to continue at the rate they're going at, mentally, coming up with things, I have found that is not the case. I feel like once the inspiration starts flowing and you get one project going, it just keeps snowballing, which has been really cool to see, and also super frustrating because now I'm like, oh my god, I have 4 projects I want to get to, but in order to continually put out videos, I have to finish the project first. So it's been very opposite of what I was expecting. Which brings us to the last fear, which was no one would watch. Well, in reality, over the last 365 days, my channel has gotten over 12,600 views, which to me is crazy. I know some people might see that number and think, okay, that's not that many, but my goal was to set out and do a video a month. And I did not stick to that. Unfortunately, but also fortunately, I ended up moving in June, which is why I now have a studio space. But because I moved in June, I didn't get to do a video that month. And between November and December and the holidays and going back and forth home, I just didn't have time to film another video, so I didn't get out a video that month. So for my 365-day period, I was only able to get out a total of 10 videos, and the fact that I was only posting once a month and only got out 10 videos and still had over 12,000 views, I think is kind of crazy, and I was super impressed / excited about this. Now, a little disclaimer is that one of my videos did get picked up by the algorithm, and I've heard that saying before and didn't really understand it. But there is a famous YouTuber who made a video about making shoes, and I had made a video about making shoes, so people who watched her video were then directed to my video. So that one video in particular got a lot of views. So yes, part of it was luck, but that luck never would have happened and never would have been a factor had I not gone for it and posted videos and just saw what happened. And lastly, I figured I'd show you just how close I am, or far away I am, from monetizing. So the way monetizing works on YouTube is in a year period, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So for the last 365 days, this is what my results are. And again, as someone who has only posted 10 videos in the last 365 days, I am like blown away by this growth over the last year. So to anyone who has taken the time to watch a video or subscribe, thank you, because you are potentially helping me make my dreams come true, and that's really cool. So thank you. So now that I've finished my first year on YouTube, I just want to talk about what my goals are moving forward. I know my videos are not at all where I want them to be, so things I'd like to focus on are I'd like to get better at storytelling and trying to find my voice. I feel like I enjoy watching videos when the person talks to the camera when they're filming the process, but just due to my schedule, it's very hard for me to put on makeup and work on projects after work. I usually can only work on them on the weekend, and voiceover just makes it a lot easier to be able to work on stuff and look a mess and then talk about it later on. And I'd like to post more consistently, but honestly that's all going to depend on what life has in store for me and how in-depth I want to make some of my projects, because I'd like to do more in-depth projects. I have projects in mind, but they're going to take longer and therefore probably going to mean less videos. So it's a toss-up between being able to make cooler, bigger projects and less videos versus more frequent videos with projects that are not as cool or, involved. Lastly, I just wanted to put some advice out there for anyone who has been tossing around the idea of starting their YouTube channel and hasn't. Here is some advice for you from me who finally started it. Who knows where it'll go, but so far it's been fun. 1, start with what you have. If you can only film on your phone, film on your phone. If you have work and you're in school and you can't post regular videos, post one video every 2 months. Posting something is better than nothing, and you're gonna learn with every video that you make. So make bad videos. Finish them to completion. Watch them, see what you like about them, see what you don't like about them, and if they're awful, you don't have to post them, no one has to know. The first 2 videos I made, where I was trying to figure out what I wanted this channel to be, I did not post. One was just kind of talking about the goals of the channel, and so it wouldn't really be interesting to watch. And 2, it was the horn video that was one of my first videos, which still, the resulting video I feel like is pretty mediocre, but it was much better than the first video I had filmed. The first video was so awful, but it let me work out what I liked about that video, what I really didn't like, what needed to be improved greatly, which was mainly lighting and a lot. But had I not made that very bad video, I wouldn't have been able to improve as much as I did with the second video. So all of that is important, and just working on something, if you're interested in doing this, just go for it and see what happens. My second piece of advice is don't get discouraged. Not every video is going to be a win or get you a bunch of views. I know for a fact that whenever I post a painting video, it's not going to get a lot of views, but the painting videos are fast to make and I enjoy painting, so I'm going to keep making them Hopefully other people will enjoy them, but if they don't, they'll probably still be on the channel because I like doing them. So I just know that when I post one of those, it's gonna be kind of a flop, and that's okay. 3, if you miss a deadline or a project doesn't work out, don't beat yourself up over it. It's all a learning process, and it's all documenting that learning process. So some videos are not gonna be great, some projects are not gonna turn out the way you want, and that's totally fine. It is what it is. My 4th piece of advice is don't aim for perfection with your videos. It is not achievable. You will make a video and you will look at it when it's done and be like, oh my gosh, the audio is bad, or this shot should have been better, or this and this and this, and you'll nitpick and nitpick until you drive yourself crazy. And guess what? At some point, you just have to let it go and put it out there and say, okay, these are the things that really bothered me in that last video. Let's see if we can improve those for the next one. And sometimes you will, and the next video will be better, and sometimes you'll post another video and it'll take a couple steps back and you'll be like, what happened? I thought I was getting better at this. It's all a learning process. It's not going to be a linear upward climb. There's going to be some ups and downs, and it just is what it is. Overall, you'll be getting better, but you're going to have some setbacks and you're going to have some videos that are not as good, and that's just how it goes. So don't worry about it too much. And my final piece of advice is have fun and don't force it. It is awkward talking to a camera. Filming takes 3 times longer doing a project. It is all part of a process. And then on top of that, there's editing, which I am someone who I thoroughly enjoyed editing when I was younger and didn't realize editing was a full-time job. Had I known that, I might have pursued that a little bit harder, but editing is a good half of what you're going to be doing. So if you find you really like working on projects or you really like making videos and you hate editing, either you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to enjoy it, or you're going to have to find someone who can edit for you, because that is a big part of it. So my main thing is try to have fun with it, and if you're not having fun with it, it may not be the thing for you, and that's okay. With short form video these days, there are a lot of options to put yourself out there in different ways, so don't feel like you have to stick to one thing. So that is it for this video. If anyone is interested, I thought about making a video of how I actually forced myself to be consistent. I am the type of artist who has an art graveyard, and typically I start a project and I'm really enthusiastic about it, and then I lose steam or lose interest and see the next project and start that one, and I just end up with all these unfinished projects. So trying to retrain my brain to finish projects as well as finish videos and be kind of consistent with it was a big learning process, and I ended up coming up with little tips and tricks that helped me. So if anybody's interested in learning about that, let me know and I'll make a video on it. Thank you so much for watching. It has been a very cool ride this past year, and I'm very excited to see what the next year brings. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!